Hello, my name is Laura Shaw and I'm the teacher in residence at the National Museum of the Marine Corps. Today I'm excited to speak to you about Jack Lucas, who served in the Marine Corps from 1942 to 1945. While listening to this presentation, please consider the manner in which Jack Lucas displayed the leadership principles that are central to the United States Marine Corps. Jacqueline, or Jack Lucas, was born in Plymouth, North Carolina on February 14, 1928. His parents, Louis and Maggie, were tobacco farmers in coastal North Carolina. Lucas was an only child who enjoyed sports and outdoor life. At age 10, his father abandoned the family. He and his mother struggled to keep the farm running, so they moved into Plymouth where she took a job. Maggie also began seeing another man that Jack did not like. So Jack was sent away to Edwards Military Institute in Salemburg, North Carolina. At the school, he was an excellent athlete and above average student. At the age of 14, being bored and frustrated, Lucas ran away from the school and hitchhiked to Norfolk, Virginia. It was there that he enlisted in the Marine Corps, giving his age as 17. Lucas stood 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed 182 pounds, so he easily convinced the recruiters that he was 17 years of age. However, the recruitment age without parental consent was 18, so Lucas forged his mother's signature. He also managed to get a local notary public to verify the signature. Lucas officially enlisted into the Marine Corps on August 8, 1942. Finishing his recruit training at Parris Island, Lucas was sent to Camp Lejeune and later to the Naval Air Station at Jacksonville, Florida for further training. In June 1943, he was transferred to the 21st Replacement Battalion at New River, North Carolina. 1 month later, he went to the 25th Replacement Battalion and completed machine gunner training at Camp Lejeune. By the end of 1943, Lucas was in Hawaii with the 5th Amphibious Corps, where he was promoted to private first class. Becoming irritated and impatient as part of a replacement battalion, Lucas deserted his company on January 10, 1945, and stowed away on the USS Jewel. He was now with the 1st Battalion, 26 Marines, 5th Marine Division, headed for Iwo Jima. He eventually surrendered himself to Captain Robert Dunlap, who punished Lucas by reducing his rank to private. He was assigned to a rifle platoon, but was not given a rifle because there were no extras. Dunlap told Lucas that he would quickly find one on the beach. This statement did not bother Lucas because he was finally in the war. While at sea, Lucas celebrated his actual 17th birthday. The landscape of Iwo Jima from the deck of the USS Jewel resembled the moon. The Marines had hoped to get 10 days of naval bombardment, but only got about 3 before they made their landing. Bad weather and inconsistent bombardment meant that Lucas and the other Marines would catch hell on the beach. Unfortunately for the landing force, the planners back at Pearl Harbor had completely misjudged the situation that would face the Marines. The beaches had been described as excellent and the thrust inland was expected to be easy. In reality, after crossing the beach, the Marines were faced with 15-foot-high slopes of soft black volcanic ash. This ash allowed for neither a secure footing nor the construction of foxholes to protect the Marines from hostile fire. However, the ash did help to absorb some of the fragments from Japanese artillery. Unlike the days of the pre-landing bombardment, D-Day dawned clear and bright. At 8:59 a.m., 1 minute ahead of schedule, the first wave of Marines landed on the beaches of the southeastern coast of Iwo Jima. Marines were trained to move rapidly forward, but on Iwo, they could only plod. The weight and amount of equipment was a terrific hindrance, and various items were rapidly discarded. First to go was the gas mask. After the first couple of waves, the Japanese lack of a vigorous response led the Navy to conclude that their bombardment had suppressed the Japanese defenses. And in good order, the Marines began deployment to the Iwo Jima beach. Japanese General Tadamichi Kuribashi was far from beaten, however, and after allowing the Americans to pile up men and machinery on the beach for just over an hour, Kuribayashi unleashed the undiminished force of his countermeasures. Shortly after 10 o'clock in the morning, everything from machine guns and mortars to heavy artillery began to rain down on the crowded beach, which was quickly transformed into a nightmarish bloodbath. By 11:30 a.m., some Marines had managed to reach the southern tip of Airfield No. 1, whose possession had been one of the original American objectives for the first day. As a member of C Company, Lucas was part of the early afternoon advancement on February 19th. Landing on Red Beach 1, Lucas and C Company moved towards Airfield No. 1. The Marines endured a fanatical 100-man charge by the Japanese, but could keep their toehold on Airfield 1 as the night fell. The night of February 19th, he and his 4-man fire team hunkered down in a large shell crater 500 yards from the airfield. In the early morning hours of February 20th, the 4 Marines began crawling through a ravine toward the airfield. They came upon a Japanese pillbox cover to stay undetected. Several Japanese soldiers in a parallel trench opened fire on them. The Japanese returned fire and threw several grenades in the Marines' direction. 2 of the grenades landed in their trench. As Lucas yelled, "Grenades!" throwing his body on top of one of the explosives. At the same time, he pulled the second grenade underneath his body. The second grenade did not explode, but the first grenade did blow up, throwing Lucas onto his back. The blast did not injure the 3 other Marines, and they proceeded to kill all of the Japanese soldiers. But believing that Lucas was dead, they vacated the trench and moved forward. In reality, Lucas was not dead, though he was severely wounded from the blast. He was found later by a Navy corpsman who was passing through the area checking for wounded Marines. The corpsman treated Lucas's wounds as best he could and protected him from Japanese small arms fire. He got the attention of a couple of Marines who were moving toward the airfield. They radioed for stretcher bearers who arrived and carried Lucas back to the beach. Lucas was loaded onto an LST from the beach aid station. From there, he was taken to a cargo ship that was being used as a makeshift hospital ship. He was then moved to the hospital ship USS Samaritan. For the next month, Lucas was treated at hospitals in Hawaii and San Diego before being admitted to the Naval Hospital in San Francisco. From March 28 to September 18, 1945, Lucas underwent 21 surgeries to remove hundreds of metal fragments from his body. While in a naval hospital in Charleston, South Carolina, the attempted deserter mark was removed from his record. His rank of private first class was also reinstated. President Truman awarded Jack Lucas the Medal of Honor on October 5, 1945. After his discharge from the Marine Corps in 1945, Lucas attended High Point College through the GI Bill and received a business degree in 1956. In 1961, Lucas joined the U.S. Army to train as a paratrooper to help him overcome his fear of heights. During his training at Fort Bragg, Lucas survived a training jump when neither his main chute nor emergency chute opened. Lucas volunteered for Vietnam in 1962, but his request was refused. His Army career came to an end with the rank of captain in 1965. For the remainder of his life, Lucas worked as a businessman in North Carolina and Mississippi. He passed away on June 5, 2008, after a bout with leukemia. Jack Lucas is buried in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and he will forever be known as the indestructible Jack Lucas.